Hey, it's Chris, the Dating Doc, and this entire episode, this is for the ladies, okay? Now, for the men that are listening, you may gain an advantage, you may hear this out, and it may apply to you when it comes to dating game, but this is for the ladies. First off, ladies, understand that I'm not one of these guys that's going to make a buck or make a view or subscribe based on trying to disrespect you, all right? At the same time, that does not mean I'm just going to sit back and let you do whatever kind of comments or whatever kind of backlash. So understand the difference. I'm not one of these simps, but at the same time, I'm not going to disrespect you just to get more views. So without further ado, what this entire audio video, YouTube video, whatever you want to call it, it's all about not claiming you're independent. Quit doing that. Okay. Quit overcorrecting yourself because of some failed trauma in the past. Okay. Failed rejections, a breakup, a divorce, to where at one time you were a sweet giving woman and then you overcorrected. You got hypersensitive to the fact that you got hurt in the past. So now you have to advertise that you are this strong, independent woman. Stop that. This is the reason I say that, okay? I'm not mansplaining, but when is the last time you have heard men collectively go out and say, I am a strong, independent man in a serious tone? No, right? And that's the tragedy of it. The tragedy is that there are a lot of strong, independent people out there. The tragedy, and again, in some ways, yes, it would be the patriarchy's fault, if you want to look at it that way, historical, trends and how much more years we have to give back to women. Yes, because historically, women have been oppressed, right? We had to even pass laws just to let women vote, yet women have been giving birth to both men and women for centuries. So I understand that because of that history of oppression, you have to overcompensate or overpromote that you are a strong, independent woman. Again, a man shouldn't have to promote it to a woman, right? A man shouldn't have to go out his way and say, look, I just want you to know that I'm a strong, independent man and I'm not going to put up with any BS or games. It just, come on, let's be real. It just does not message the right way. Okay. Don't play it. Don't talk about, well, if a man told me that, I'd be very accepting of it. We know the deal. Okay. Yes, maybe it's a generalization, but if you were asked 100 men and 100 women, okay, is it acceptable to say strong, independent man or strong, independent woman? And we know that it's going to be more acceptable for a woman to say that because it's a counter to not only historical oppression collectively, but on the individual basis, because we understand that that's an overcorrection to some past trauma, rejection, divorce, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the other reason why you don't want to go into that strong, independent woman type deal. Sometimes you confuse what you may call intimidation energy, right? You may say you're too intimidating for most men. And you realize you just have an overabundance of strong, annoying energy. There are strong women. There are women that are strong, that are still loving. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. But do not confuse strong, independent for this very intense, yet very nagging type of energy that most people won't put up with, because that same type of strong, intense, controlling, nagging energy you would not put up with from a man. Okay, I want you to understand that when you say you intimidate most men, when you say your energy is too intimidating, you're either doing that as a test to see if they are man enough to accept you at your ugliest. Why not just be real with yourself? Why not still be kind and just tell them, look, I can be messy sometimes. What happens is when you lead with ugly as some sort of like litmus test, as some sort of obstacle to see if the right kind of man can climb that obstacle of you starting with ugly, with that ugly type of energy. No, you're only going to attract toxic men that could be mentally, possibly physically abusive. And some of you, unfortunately, are so damaged that that's the only kind of men that excite you. So let's recap again. You don't have to promote that you're a strong, independent woman. If you truly are a strong, independent woman, you are independent from having to promote that. Okay, that's the first thing. The other thing which is tied to that is when you say you are too intimidating, when you say that most men can't handle you, again, this is something where most people don't want to handle someone else that brags about how most people can't handle them or promotes that. If I worked for someone and the boss told me most employees can't handle me, do you think I'm going to want to work in that type of environment? Truthfully, do you think I'm going to say, you know what? If I can get a similar job, similar pay, am I going to be with a boss or manager that goes out of his way to say that most people can't handle him? No, I'm going to go with a better working environment. The same applies. The tragedy of it is that because we have these gender roles, very stereotypical gender roles, you automatically assume that a man is not being man enough because he's not sticking around to deal with your kind of energy. This is very different. This is very different from being, let's say, independently wealthy to being a smart woman who's got her education, and also to being a woman who takes care of her business without the help of a man. That's totally fine as long as you are very stoic and accepting of that, not using it as a way to promote or deter men away from you. Okay? There are plenty of quality men that can handle a lot in their lives. They can handle being in a relationship with women. They can handle the responsibilities of fatherhood. But when they meet these type of women that confuse strong, independent woman with traumatic woman who's overcorrecting with an abundance of pride and toxic energy, they're going to go away. And you're going to sit there confused, thinking, he just can't handle me. But he was such a good guy, but I guess I'm just too much for him. No, that's your confirmation bias. That's your ego hiding the truth, which is you just lost out on a good man because you're still stuck on this strong, independent woman with intimidating energy. That is the tragedy of woman, is that you want us to be a certain kind of way. And if we are not a certain kind of way, we're not a man. And that's a very skewed type of thinking that's making many women miss out on a good man. And it all has to do with the person in the mirror and not the kind of man that you just lost. And here's the thing. This is what's interesting to note, is that in a solid relationship, you have to have a little bit of submission and dominance from both sides. There's going to be times when I'm going to be like, okay, honey, yes, I'll go to the grocery store and get you that milk because I forgot to get the milk. That's submission on my part. Then there's a little bit of dominance on my part. It's like, oh, hold up. What you just said, that wasn't right. Okay, and I wasn't scared to say that, just like I wasn't scared to submit. Same thing with a woman. A woman's going to have to submit and just rub your shoulders without saying a word. And then there's going to be times when she's going to call me out on something I said that was wrong. That's how relationships work. That is exactly how relationships work. A lot of us, we are malnutrition when it comes to those basics. That's the kind of clients I work with. I've been working with singles and couples. Not going to do too much of a business plug, but if you want to find me, you can find me. So to recap, again, woman, you don't have to advertise you're strong, independent. And that intimidating energy, that most men can't handle me energy, you're going to lose out because you can't face the authenticity of what you have to offer in a relationship, and you're too busy trying to find men that can leap over this obstacle. You know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. This is the Dating Doc signing out.